zone. Let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let.
Ring, ring, ring. Hello, priest, and welcome back to the magical Krown Crypto Cave.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Very glorious morning this morning as Bitcoin dumping to all fucking hell in heavens. And let me just make sure that I have my own notes open right on over here so I can make sure that I talk about all the things that need to be spoken about, as I have a very forgetful mind this morning, even though I did get a pretty good night's sleep last night. And really actually ready for today's action. I want to talk about first things first, the Krown trading application. It is live for all the people who are in any one of the programs. Definitely check your emails and your spam folders for instructions on how to get it. If it's not in there, then just simply go to the Discord channel, and in the Krown trading, in the member section in the Krown trading application channel, that's where you can just find the pin section and you can just download it just directly from there, and that should be all well and good. If you have any issues with that, definitely reach out to me or Morinfall. We can help you out, but should be pretty straightforward. And of course, with the app, like, it's not fully functional right now, but it's good enough as a working product. And we're going to be pushing out updates, like big updates, each and every week. So all of the main features that you see on the left-hand side right now, for the live trading, for the broadcast, for the chat, the chat integration with Discord, that's all going to be, and let me just make sure that I'm recording. Yes, good. Just getting chicken head right now. That's all going to be pushed out, with over like the next 3 to 4 weeks. So that brings me to the actual public release. We'll be releasing pretty much right after that. So a little bit less than a month now, and we'll be good to go for everyone. A lot of announcements for that coming up, but I'll kind of keep that as a little bit of a, a little bit of a secret, I suppose, for now. The new website's ready as well, crowntrading.net. We're going to be putting out a lot of updates for that as well. We've been getting phenomenal feedback, which is really helping us kind of create a better experience overall, especially for like the actual video series, because now we're going to be able to make it so that you can like stop the video, make notes, make your own notes, also communicate with the community on perhaps topics that may need a little bit more just clarification, and just a lot of things coming with that, which I'm really excited about, because I think it adds a shit ton more value than what we had previously. What else do I want to talk about? Yep, there's been someone fucking impersonating me via email. I'm never going to ask to trade your account or anything like that. I don't care to trade your account. I'm not interested in trading your account. I'm very happy with trading my own account. So if you have been getting an email from a similar name towards mine, it's not me. It's likely a scam. And well, fair enough, man. I mean, people know that, and like they still give money to the fucking the Nigerian princes, right? But fair enough. Everyone to each their own. Also, later today, I'm going to be releasing the first video of a new video series, and and I don't really know what to call it. I just called it like Krown Talk, which is just a very it's just not very creative name. But basically, it's like kind of podcast style between myself and another verified trader, like someone that I can actually say has skin in the game and is successful, more importantly. And today is going to be my good friend Jackie, who we're actually going to be bringing on a little bit more. I hope we can bring him on like more regularly over time, because he has a lot of really good, interesting insights, because he comes from a kind of a different background than myself. But with that, he brings a lot of value, and he is really psychologically driven, and he has his own kind of way of relating concepts, which is not it uses different verbiage than me, and he has like kind of different concepts as well. But I think that they're incredibly valuable, and I've learned a lot from him, and a lot of people in this community have benefited a shit ton from him as well. So I'm really excited to be releasing that later today, and also we'll be bringing him on kind of like in a more in a more close sense this this coming month in December. He's going to be doing, he's going to be having his own psychology group with regards to trading. So if you are interested in that, definitely keep an eye out for that. It's going to be very small at first, because we want to make sure that everything goes over well. But so far so good. So yeah, in a couple of weeks we'll be talking a little bit more about that, and we'll actually talk a little bit about it in the video as well. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, I want to ask. I feel like I have so much fucking energy today. What more would you like to see on this channel? I'm actually in a live trade right now, but which is typically typically something that I do get asked about. But the funny thing about the live trade videos, which I have a shit ton of, I probably have more than 100 now over the past like year, they don't really get that many views. So, I'm trying to figure out something that I enjoy doing that other people find value in. And that way, I can do more, because right now I feel like my Bitcoin trading has more or less been it's been, pretty lackluster. I haven't really been trading all that much in Bitcoin, just playing a few, just having a few plays here and there. I think we looked at one yesterday. I played a little bit of that bounce from 7,400 to 7,700. Then other than that, I took another bounce play at like 8,000 to 8,200. These are not like sexy plays or anything like that, but getting the job done, I suppose. And I've been doing a lot more Forex recently, just because I feel like there's a lot more opportunity right there, and plays really, 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 really well and technically. So, please let me know in the comments, or reach out to me via Discord DM, or that can also be a little bit more encompassing. Comments are good too. What else? And the channel now has membership. So shill. God damn it. It always feels really fucking, it always feels really dirty shilling your own self. But I do want to bring that forth, just because I've actually done that on other people's channels, and it allows me to get a more curated, community, experience. And, for example, like one of the channels that I do it with is this guy who teaches me how to do, basically better video production. In fact, most of the things that I've learned here are from that. And so I just go in there, and because there's thousands of other people, like always when he's live, just like, fucking answer my question, please. It's a little bit selfish, to be fair, but it works a lot better, and also just a little bit of a way to give back. Oh, and also more importantly, this upcoming week is Thanksgiving, I believe. Let me actually confirm that. Yes, we are on the third Thursday. Is that how it goes? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. No, is it the third or fourth? Whatever the fuck. It's next Thursday, because we haven't had Thanksgiving yet, and it's the last Thursday in this month. So I know that it has to be Thanksgiving. I'm going to be running a sale on all the programs, 20% off for that week. So I guess that week starts tomorrow. So yeah, so from Sunday to Sunday, 20% off on all the programs on the new site. So definitely go check that out if you are interested. And with that said, I think it's time to get into the actual action right here. So let's press that button. And as always, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest of the happiest. God damn, man, my glasses are once again on the top of my head. Jesus Christ, man, I look like a fucking fool. Anyways, we'll hit and I'll see you in the live scene, baby. So there it is, Bitcoin on the hourly. Let's maybe go to a time frame that makes a little more sense. Let's actually go to the 3-day right here. So 3-day is the one that I've been watching quite a bit, as yes, we did come all the way down to the 200 simple. But here's the thing, and I feel like these things I can be grossly misheard on. And also, there's probably, there's going to be like a meme started at, at some point, like looking for a bounce here. I need to explain myself with these bounce plays, because I don't feel like it's, I feel like when I say that I'm looking for a bounce, people think that like a bounce means a reversal back to all-time highs. When I'm trading counter trend, a bounce, is only just that, a small bounce and continuation of trend most likely. I mean, overall here on the weekly and basically all the higher time frames, this is a very bad chart as it stands. I mean, I would have really liked to have seen a greater bounce above the 55 exponential moving average if we were going to see that sideways action play out for the next few months. That I think would have been a little bit more boring and perhaps a little bit more long-term healthy. But hey, I'm going to be wrong in that very, 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 very likely, unless we get this closure back above the 55 at $8,000. And we already saw CMEs and GBTC close for the week. Just making sure that, okay, good, everything's working well over here. Let me actually turn off this. There we go. Okay, no worries there. Nice, beautiful. And they close well below. So I don't think that we'd have like a fake out before us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time before the weekly deal to close on spot price action. Again, going over here to CMEs, like this is the closure. We have new lows on the weekly. We quite literally have been trending down for for a few months or a couple months now, and we just got continuation once again. So I would probably be looking for a bounce up to this region coming into next week. That would be like the 7,700, 7,800 on spot price action, and then probably continuation of trend from there. That at the end of the day I really want to focus on in this video, because yes, I was playing these bounces coming in this week. Like I said, I did take the bounce right here from about, 8,000 to 8,200 on this one of these fucking scam wicks, if you want to call it that. And then again at about 7,400 all the way up to 7,700, of which we looked at yesterday. But I need to be very clear with this, because again, I think that people interpret that as like we're bouncing back up to the fucking moon. No, it's counter trend. It's in and out fast. And in this case, it's nothing sexy. It's like what I think I entered in at 7,450. I believe I showed this trade. I showed one of these trades, or maybe I showed all. Probably whatever. But you know, it was bang bang fast. We saw this one on live stream yesterday, and you know, I exit some from 74.50 at 7,700, and then the rest at 76.50. You know, nothing sexy there. It's nothing sexy. I mean, this is the crux of playing a counter trend bounce. So definitely do be careful with that. If you know, if perhaps I've not been explaining myself as well as, you know, as well as I should. But again, at the end of the day, this is not, you know, a signals channel. I'm just kind of sharing what I'm doing. The real trade to be taking was the actual death cross on the 4-hour digital time frame back on over here, and obviously before that was the closure below the weekly 21 exponential moving average. Both of them, you know, we spoke about at length at the time of them actually happening. You can see that over time, yes, they do typically play out. But here's the thing, you know, on their 3-day digital closing time frame, we are still, you know, I still think that we're kind of within the realm of this region right here. And again, I need to explain this one as well, because I've been getting a lot of questions about this, and it's not, you know, yes, I'm not necessarily going to call a move down. Like I did not call a move down to 6,800, 6,900. I'm not a fucking soothsayer. I'm not a crystal baller. I'm a trader at the end of the day, and I don't need to know those things in order to trade it. And the way that I trade this is quite literally the same. So, you know, when I'm trading a 3-day, I go on a 3-day schedule. And have we broken this area just yet? No, we have not. In fact, we can't until we won't even have a chance until the 24th, which is later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will actually confirm this. So I would say that if we do close above this region, 7,300, I would look for that bounce coming into next week, probably upper 7,000, 7,700 to 7,900 is where I'd likely be looking towards, and then probably continuation of trend from there. This is nasty right here. Yes, we do have a head and shoulders on a weekly time frame, and we have all major moving averages switching over to a bearish posture. We see daily death cross is going to happen in the next day or two, unless we get a, I always say this, and then sometimes it actually happens, which is just, I mean, that's why you don't fucking front run signals. But you know, if we got to bounce up to 8,600, which would be about a $1,400, $1,500 bounce from our current area in the next 2 days, we will inevitably get this death cross. Which the thing is with the death cross, and this lines up with kind of if we do close this 3-day above that $7,300 pivot. The thing that I'd be looking for is I'd actually look for a bounce back up to test around one of the major moving averages, whether it's a 10 simple or the 21. You can see that these guys are going to be coming around the 377 as well, so that'd probably be a good area. And where is that? That's at high 7,000, low 8,000 region. You know, that's probably going to be my next potential trending play if I can get a position in there. This all goes out by the wayside if we do close a 3-day below the 200 exponential moving average, and again, that is 7,300 right now. You know, that doesn't really change anything. So as it stands, you know, it's still a little bit, requires a little bit of patience here. Pressure is down, but, you know, because we are dealing with big numbers, things do float around quite a bit. If we do close below the 200 exponential moving average, which is 7,300, I would look for another small term move to the 200 simple at 7,000, and then probably reassess from there, as I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But we have to be looking at how the higher time frame is going to be shaping up, because again, we have the 3-day closing tonight and then the weekly tomorrow. And a lot can be judged off that. And the weekly as it stands is very bad. Any closure below any weekly closure below 7,600, and ultimately I'm looking for continuation longer term. And this is, again, speaks to my inability to do time analysis. I know that I've been showing a lot of things, suggesting a lot further down, into the 6,000s, into the 5,000s perhaps as well. And I've been saying I think that this could take like 3 to 5 months to happen, and we just get a fucking $1,000 dump, in the last week. At the end of the day, this is why I don't think that I can do, I certainly cannot do time analysis. I can only give a potentially slightly educated opinion, but after yesterday's action, fuck no, man. And that's why I go off of price levels rather than time frames, even though I sometimes will try to offer them up. So yeah, this last dump that we had into this region right here does make me think that this plays out a little bit faster than previously thought, and especially if you do close this next weekly below 76. What is this again? About 7,600. Probably does allow for a little bit of a bounce coming into next week. Open. But hey, all major moving averages are bearish right here. We've been speaking about this on the weekly very, 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 very simply. That every time that we've gotten this signature right here. Let me get it on. Every time that we've gotten this signature right here with negative slopes on both the red 10 simple and the yellow 21 exponential moving average, it has produced very, very nasty downturns for a prolonged period of time. Last example was back on over here, basically getting this $10,000 high down to $3,100 low, 67.5% drop down right there, done over the course of 280 days. And then of course it took like another, another quarter of time to work its way back up and actually reverse trend right there. Time before that we actually got a similar signature to that. Again, both negative slopes, was coming in right on over here during this bull trap, and top to bottom, we're looking at a 75.5% drop down right there, done over the course of about 190 days to the actual low. Again, to the actual low, which does not mean that, we just reverse from there, like, and gain momentum to the upside. It just, the low is in, takes another like half year to actually turn trend around. Same thing right on over here, getting this massive down 60% from the actual slope change. And this one a little bit faster, only 84 days, but this one was a little bit of a different one. And then of course, this guy right here, if we're just looking at slopes, we get an example, 50% down as well. So, if we were to take, like the average of that, let's call it like 65% from the signal, that would take us right from 10,300, which was again the critical area where things really switched around to being overall more nasty. And if we just shaved off like 60% of price action from there, that would put us down into the mid to low 4,000s. So I do think that is a legitimate possibility longer term, and that'd probably put us somewhere around the 377 if I had to guess. Let's actually throw it on. It's pretty far away actually still. That's actually all the way down at our current low, or sorry, a little bit above our current low at, it's actually right at the current low, 3,100. So fair enough. Curious if any simples are matching up around there, although I don't care as much about that. Anyways, also on top of that, we could look at the cross of those two major moving averages, the red 10 simple once again and the yellow 21. And we did confirm that a couple weeks ago, and then broke below the 21, which both those things we can expand on that a little bit more. Last time that we got the same cross was back on over here, basically the same sort of initiation of price action, although this one's a little bit more sloppy and speaks to the greater trend of this asset rather than the short-term trend. But, all these crosses to the downside right over here, precipitating, major massive moves to the downside. And then of course, just in the most simple way, when maybe I should have started with the most simple way on this one, no pun intended, but looking at the 21 exponential moving average, every time that we've broken it, that has been, correction time for, big percentage points, 60 to 7%, and, like year-long plus corrections, if you want to call it a correction. But yeah, example right here, we break it after this massive run to the upside. Yes, we do chop around it a little bit, but overall, there's no trend reversal, and down all the way. Same thing right on over here, gets the bull trap quite well, gets the parabolic high quite well, and same thing right on over here. And if we go to the Genesis, we do get that 90% drop down as well. So it does speak to the greater trend, and we do have a good history of that playing out, which is good enough for me typically as a trader. And that happened right at the $9,000 level. That's when I sent out that tweet with Bear Jesus, which, by the way, I got a lot of shit for that tweet about Bear Jesus. There's apparently a lot of religious people in this community. I just want to say, like, hey, my love for Bear Jesus has nothing to do with Jesus. It's just that Bear Jesus has been better to me over the past year. And you know what? His red dildos are powerful and girthy, and I would not fuck around with them unless needed to be. So at the end of the day, man, I think that was like early November. Late October, early November, officially right here. Yeah, first week of November, we broke down below it, and that was, nasty. And then of course, as far as the macro goes, I want to be very direct in saying this, as I hope I have been. As long as we're living below this horizontal right here, the macro is not like trending bullish, if you want to call it that. And if you want to take a little bit more of an aggressive approach, I would say as long as we're below this guy right here, this last little local high that we have, and now this is confirmed a low, it's not just confirmed a lower high and a local high, but we have a trending move precipitated upon that as we do create new lows. That could also be looked at as a major pivot as well. If we get back above there, at least we have, the inklings of an uptrend forming, although we also need a higher low as well. And it's hard to get a higher low when we just made a lower low and still hasn't even closed yet. So that is the nasty thing about this. But yeah, those are the two big inflection points that I look for now in this market. And actually, I'm going to get rid of this guy right here. That's relevant to the daily, of course. But if I'm looking at a weekly, which does dictate the dominant trend, I'd be looking right around 9,500 at the very least. And if I want to get like super uber bullish back onto all-time highs, perhaps even beyond, 11,500, 11,600 right here is where I'd be looking towards. So, that's obviously an order of operation, and just going to take its time, no matter what, as typically Bitcoin's market cycles do take take, year plus and long to play out. And more importantly, on top of that, it's going to get longer and longer as time goes on and more people get involved in this market. We can also go back on over here. I've been speaking about this past couple days, although I haven't really spoken about it too much prior to that. This is the Bitcoin RVT ratio. It's basically it's kind of like a more fundamental indicator speaking to the realized volume to transaction volume ratio. And you don't really need to know what that means in order to know how this relates to, let me actually get rid of, do we want to get rid of this? Yeah, let's get rid of this. Well, do we want to look at this? Do we want to look at this? Okay, we can look at that in a second. Let's simplify first. So anytime that price action has gotten wrangled by the 200-day moving average on this, on the RVT, that has been, well, big bad correction time. This guy right here, 70% down. This guy right here, bull trap, 70% down. This guy right here, bull trap 2018, 70% down from there, or 65. And then once again, we are wrangled below it. In fact, if we look at that and just look at the overall, well, we could look at slope analysis on it, but I think that the realized price actually is better for slope analysis. Whenever the realized price starts to flatten out, and especially when it gets a negative slope, that is major massive correction time. Sorry, let me actually get rid of this guy so it's a little bit more clear. I'm speaking towards this one right now. At 2018 we flattened out and down. 2014 flattened out and down 70%, flattened out right on over here, 70% down, flattened out right on over here, 90% down. And what are we doing right now? We have flattened out and we are getting a very slight negative slope, very similar to what we saw in 2018. So I would say that also is fundamentally saying that we do go lower. And you can see that typically we do see market cycle lows on this brown oscillator down here around where my cursor currently is right now. And that is pretty far away from where we are, at the current moment in time. So there certainly is, some downside displeasure to be had, and it really does start to match up with some of the more doom scenarios that I've been kind of pointing out. Although I really wanted to see Bitcoin range within this region for quite some time, that would have been the most healthy thing in my opinion to do. However, with this last week's of price action, that scenario is very likely to be destroyed. And if CMEs and GBTC are anything to go off of, it is destroyed. And I would say that CMEs especially matter a lot more in my opinion. Not only that, but going over here to the Bitcoin VWAP ratio. Sorry, now I also should say, before I move on, the 200-week moving average on the RVT, that's actually called all the lows pretty fucking well, going all the way back to 2010, back on over here. Got this low, got this low, got this low, got our more recent low. And where would that be coming in around? That would be coming in around the mid to low 4,000. So matching up a few more things with that. In fact, if we do go back on over here and look at this as a head and shoulders, which Mr. Peter Schiff, who is a fucking genius troll, and he's just great. He pointed out a head and shoulders, and I would agree with him on the head and shoulders. I would not agree with him on the target. He says that the target is $1,000. I would say that the target is about low 4,000. So that would kind of match up with that area as well. And look at a few more things that do kind of suggest that. Remember, taking just a percentage drop off the weekly moving average that we looked at with the same sort of signature, suggesting the same sort of thing. RVT ratio, of course, breaking this area, on the 200-day moving average on it, that producing the same thing. And of course, the Bitcoin VWAP ratio, which I've been watching quite a lot, is actually right there. It's not good, man. It's not fucking good. I won't go through the full explanation on this one because I do that typically every Sunday at 8 p. Or sorry, not. I was gonna say at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's like, what the fuck, man? Can you think, Krown? You dumb fuck. But hey, here's the thing. When we do see both the blue, purple, and pink below the regression line that my cursor currently is kind of running across this pane right here, that is like not just pressure down, it is strong pressure down. And when we get the blue below the purple, all below the pink, that is like prolonged market down, year plus long down. In fact, last time that we had this was 2018. Time before that we had this was bull trap right here in 2014. Time before that was this correction right here. A little bit less so, to be fair, but you could also say that this is all just one piece of the whole, and I'd agree strongly. And then time before that was this 95% correction right here. I mean, that is just, it's just disingenuous to say correction at that point. It's not a fucking correction, it's a crash. And even on top of that, as we've been saying, just even getting the purple below the pink below, again, where my cursor currently is right now, that has been good enough to give us at least 70% drop downs in the past. But it doesn't speak to the strength of that and like the time component involved with it. So I do think that we're in, for, prolonged, prolonged move to the downside most likely here. Elsa's just walking around in the background if you're wondering what's going on there in camera number 2. But she's putting up the Christmas lights right now, which is really exciting. And you probably see her in the background right there. Anyways, let's see. So yes, all those signatures that we already had present in here as of, right over here on the breakdown below 9,000, which again was a very, very critical point. That was this guy right here. Or sorry, we have a similar signature right here before this major down. We have a similar signature right here before this major down, this major down, this major down, and this major down, all printing the same sort of thing. And we can go into the charts and once again kind of come up with a same relationship of these guys. This guy, from top to bottom on this signal about 70%. If I took from wick, it'd probably be about the same. And we got kind of the same thing right here after this bull trap. Now, didn't we? About 67%. Time before that, hey motherfucker, I need to get onto a chart that actually has the history here. This bull trap was the signal before that, 75% down from there. This one right here, another 70% down right there. This one right here, another 75% down right there. And then we do have an example right here, which again was 95%, but that's a little bit of an outlier. So if we just even took 70% off from the last high before that signal was printed, again, keywords, from the last high before that signal was printed, that would bring us down, again, low 4,000. So we have multiple things actually really pointed down towards there. And what also is in danger of happening at end of month here, of which we're getting very close, as it's just 1 week away. We are in danger of actually breaking the 21 exponential moving average right here on the monthly. Now, of course, a lot can happen between now and 7 days. I mean, we've all seen much more crazy things than a couple $1,000 rallies in that in that time frame. But I would say that if we do break below the 21 exponential moving average, that is again my sort of like long-term way in stocks to kind of judge if I should be playing it bullish or bearish. And that's, that was obviously specific to when I was, an actual market maker on the floor of New York Stock Exchange ARCA trading those. Nowadays, this asset only has like 10 years of history, so it's not as good, but I do think that we're at the point now in history time where it is starting to make sense, because we do have a good read right here in 2014. We do have another good read right here before this washout in the past year of 2018, and then once again we're kind of flirting around with it right now. Now in stocks we typically want to see like 15 to 20 years of history to really get like a good read with multiple iterations playing upon this. So we're almost around there on Bitcoin, and we actually do have a good interplay of it thus far. So I would say that if we do break it, very, 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 very likely that we do come down and base somewhere in the mid to low 4,000s. Now, again, I need to be very clear in stating this because I think it can be grossly misheard. Am I saying that Bitcoin's going to have a straight line down there today? No, absolutely not. I do still think that this would take quite some time. If history is anything to go off of, those similar signatures do take half a year to a year to play out typically. Not always going to be perfect, but again, just trying to kind of like spitball some ideas on what we've seen in the past. That is what I'd be looking towards. I do have a few major areas that I'd be looking for major bounces. The first area, and I'm just gonna sound like a fucking broken record here, but there's probably gonna be like a meme created about me after this. It's like probably bounces here. I do think that we probably bounce in this current region right here, coming into this next week. I don't think that it's not a reversal or anything like that. I'd just be looking at this range right here and probably back up to the breakdown point right here is where I'd likely be looking towards. Could it be that we fill out could it be that we fill out this trend line right here and make another test towards it? That would be the secondary target if we were to get back above 7,800. So again, it's not me being a like a crystal baller telling the future. It's just, hey, if this relevant level gets taken out, this is the next one that I go to, and that provides a trade opportunity and more importantly an edge as a trader. So remember that when you're coming to this channel, I'm coming from the background as a trader, and there's a lot of people out there on YouTube who want to make the call, so to speak, and that's really, really sexy and cool. And sometimes, yes, I will try to do that myself, but you can see that I'm really not that good at it. What I'm good at is just finding these pivot areas and making trades based upon them. And that's really all that it needs to be. I mean, at the end of the day, man, I'm more reliant on trading than I am on YouTube. So I'm more than happy to share that because that's the way that I do it. And, that's going to come with that's going to come with, bad calls and bad plays, but there's always an opportunity on the other side. And that's what I really want to speak about and who I really want to focus on. Not only that, but we also are going to have a competing trend line right here, of course. if you are looking at it like this. So, likely, again, coming in around high 7,000. So I do think that if we bounce back around there, I would probably be looking for my next long-term play, as I didn't get any long-term shorts in and on any of this really. I was pretty much, I was either moving countries or dealing with like shitty internet, which just made things, much more of a hassle. And then also creating the app and creating a few more other things that I am going to be announcing hopefully soon, but you never know. So yeah. That's what I'd be looking at right there. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's talk about the relevant areas. So first things first, this area that we're on right now, relevant area, although I don't think that I think it's very unlikely that we reverse from here, especially given the CME's closure. Next relevant area after that is going to be likely down around here. Where's my 3-day again? Where's my 377? It should be around the 3-day 77, which is going to be low 6,000. Yes, indeed it is. So I'd say that this is like the next kind of range right here. And that would be encompassed, again, we're talking about a 3 day. So it is, it is quite a bit. That'd be encompassed between like low 6,300 to 6,100-ish region down here. Would be looking for likely a bounce around that region. Assuming that we do get down around there, which would only be initiated if we actually do close below the 200 simple on the 3 day, which is $7,000, which I think is quite likely that we do that. It's just the timing of that, could still take a while. And then on top of that, the next relevant area that I'll be looking towards is this guy right here, right around mid 5,000s, 54 to 5,500, which I'm curious if that matches up with anything. Doesn't match up with anything. Maybe no. Well, I don't have any other things. No, it should match up with. Yeah, it's going to match up with the 200 simple actually, which did hold up our current lows at 3,100 and the cycle before that at whatever this price point is here, $210. So yeah, you can naturally see that it's going to line up with this region, or maybe it's a 200 exponential moving average is going to line up there. The 200 exponential is already there. So wherever the 200 exponential moving average and the 200 simple are on the weekly is kind of where I'd be looking towards. You can imagine that if we do take our time within this region, the 200 exponential moving average is going to come up to low 6,000. The 200 simples will find its territory in the 5,500s, and that's essentially where I'd say that it starts to be like more time relevant. And if those two areas fail, then yes, I would be looking down here towards mid to low 4,000s. And that's concurrent with basically all the signals that we're seeing on the higher time frames, unfortunately, which again, speaking as a believer in Bitcoin, it's bittersweet, right? It's like, fuck, this thing, has legitimate downside here. This looks like a massive bull trap now. And while we do have a nice pivot going onwards and forwards in the market, it's starting to look a little bit reminiscent of something like gold, in the sense that gold, has its parabolic high being put in right in over here, goes through a very, very long and drawn out and nasty, violent downtrend, and then gets its next pop up and then comes back down into range and then kind of flips back around and gives another try to the upside. And to give an example right here, this is gold. Here's your parabolic run up to the upside, big down, consolidate for about a year. Then the next move down, that was kind of our 3,100 low, big pop up. That's kind of what we saw just recently. And then a move back down to test around the lows, but create a higher low on a macro time frame. This is a weekly right here. We could also see the same thing on a monthly. In fact, a little bit better on a monthly, perhaps. This guy right here is what I'm referring to. And then we just kind of chop around for the next, this is going to take like 2 years on gold. I don't think it takes as long on Bitcoin, but you can see that, we set in a higher low after that. Then we actually break the range. This would be akin to that 11,500 area region on Bitcoin. And then, when it's ready to roll, it's ready to roll. And fair enough. Now that would be assuming that Bitcoin, retains its relevancy as a long-term, as a long-term asset. Anyways, we haven't spoken anything about the lower timeframes just yet. Let's see what we're looking at right here. I think that the 4-hour jewel is starting to line up with a beautiful buy signal. Yeah, we will get a perfect buy signal somewhere around likely here, and that would be that could be as early as tomorrow. Yeah, that could be as early as tomorrow. So that is very interesting. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. So yeah, does that allow us to kind of fill back out the downside of the range, maybe test back down to $7,000 even? Yeah, I do think so. And then from there, I'd probably be looking for, and then from there, assuming that this actually does line up, we'd also get some bullish divergence, very, very likely on 4-hour RSI. We'll probably see 4-hour stocks ticking up as well, as they are pretty damn condensed into this trend line. Oh, I guess I already have it in there. And if we see the breakout out of this region, which again is going to be the edge of the bearish control zone, leading to the neutral zone, then I'd probably look for that bounce to play out coming into next week, up to 7,700, 7,900, something like that. Just the next major relevant area. Feel kind of dirty giving targets on that because I feel like it's going to bite me back in the asses. just been dealing with a lot of drama recently, so fair enough. Anyways, okay, cool. What else do we want to talk about here? I'm curious, what time frames do we even have bullish divergence present on at the current moment in time? It's actually not present on the 4 hour as it stands. See what the 3 hour says. 3 hour is going to be building some, but it's not present. This is still a downtrend right here. It's still pretty heavy down. 2 hour. We don't even have it. Oh my God, it's not even present on a 2 hour. We actually even have hidden bearish divergence on a 2 hour right here. Oh, fucking hell, man. So yeah, probably do move back down to $7,000 low today. But I'm not convinced that I'm not convinced that we're going to break it today just yet. Probably do come back down to this region and then create a little bit of divergence and then play out a little bit of a move to the upside. So for right now, looking like Bitcoin probably does in the short term come back down to $7,000. Probably be looking for a bounce from somewhere around there coming into next week's start. So assuming that the 3-day and the weekly don't violate those critical areas that we spoke about earlier today. So yeah, even the hourly doesn't really have bullish divergence here. It had some 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 actually, but that's mostly played out. That was a pretty nice move as well from 68 to 73. Yeah, that's a $500 move at this price point. That's almost a 10% move. That's more than enough. And we had a beautiful buy signal on the hourly jewel right here on the actual low. Now, didn't we? No, not on the low, but on the hourly dildo after the low. So from 7,000 up to 73.50. Pretty damn good, and I would say that it's safe to assume that that's already played out. Okay, how long have we been recording? 35 minutes. Jesus Christ, man! I feel like time's flying right now. And let's go check out Bitcoin dominance for a second here. I believe I was bullish on this past week. Let's see if that was the right call. Yeah, more or less. And I would likely continue to be bullish on this. I do think that we move back up to like 69.5, 69 and a quarter region. Well, we already kind of got there, to be fair. Not really much of a call at that point. But we are printing. No, we're not printing anything. I do think that we pop back up here. When the market comes down, when Bitcoin comes down, it's typically going to affect alts more than Bitcoin. Is the trend that we've seen in the past. So I would still be bullish on this, and I do think that it hits the top side of the range somewhere around 69.5%. And then reassess from there. So most alts going to be, pulling back as we spoke about coming into this week after hitting their weekly resistance and filling out the downside of the range. I don't know if I'd say that the alts are going to crumble here. I don't know if they're ready for new lows. Looking at something like Cardano, I don't think it is. I think that it's likely to come back down to the bottom side of the range, maybe, or we already got back down there at 490 yesterday. Fair enough. It probably just flattens out here for a while, which actually would be good for long form accumulation. It's going to start to really look like that. But again, that's likely to take a year. 6 months to a year, most likely, if we can flatten out here. So I don't think that there's any real rush to begin with. Okay. I'm curious what Link's doing actually. Link, came back down to our 30,000 Satoshi region. I still think this is actually fine. I'd still be long-term bullish on this as long as it's closing weeklies above 30,000 Satoshis. Still one of the best charts here, and just kind of stair-stepping its way up on the daily. Let me put back on all major moving averages so I can get a better look at this. I also do want to check out total market cap. Back on over here. Let's see how the total is doing right now. Come on, baby. Let's see. Pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad. Looks to me like it wants to come back down to 172 billion region. And we actually do see the 200x benchmark average kind of in that region as well. Pretty fucking bad though, I would say. Weekly RSI rejected out at the exponential. Weekly Jewel is actually, this is not it's not a sell signal that I would really take, but this is telling you to hold your shorts essentially. And I'm curious if we see that on Bitcoin actually. Let's go back on over here. Kind of same posturing, not as aggressive, but yeah, it is present. In hindsight, well, not necessarily in hindsight, we did speak about this. When we saw this, the Jewel sell signal or continuation sell signal right here after this good sell signal right here. Again, I'd really like to see a lot higher. I didn't take this one myself. Just called it out, and both these guys getting the 94 high right here, and then continuation or hodl signal for your shorts at 8,800 right here. Again, as all major moving averages turn bearish. Just nasty, just fucking nasty. So a lot of things lining up here for not so good of a future, but probably do bounce up this coming week. I'd love to see a bounce somewhere like in the mid to high 7,000. So I could perhaps get a position as trying to see. Do we even have? We are going to create some divergences here on the daily. So yeah, where's needs target going to be? Maybe we do get into the low 8,000s this next week, but that would be kind of the next opportunity in my opinion. Yeah, daily is just a fucking slice through butter right here now, isn't it? God damn. Let's go check out the top shitcoins, altcoins, and see how they're doing. Mr. Beaterall down to, oh my God, got a wick down to 138.33 on, what is this, Finex? Yeah, nasty. And this was really the tell coming into this last week. All of the major alts that we looked at, while Bitcoin was kind of like, teeter-tottering, all the major alts were bearish and bearish as fuck. Weekly RSI just got back in the bearish control zone and looks like it wants to get comfortable there. Trend is down, just as something as simple as just looking at the weekly trend, lower lows and lower highs, telling us we got a little bit more south, and it does look to me like it's likely to follow Bitcoin, and likely does kind of line up with the rest of the market doing the same thing. Litecoin did hit the $49 target, in fact even, oh my God, it slid way past there. So again, timing on this not so good on my part, but the overall momentum of the play, fair enough. That's really all it needs to be as a trader. Same thing on weekly, Jewel right there, and not the best signal. And I would be looking at very strong resistance right around the $50 or $51 mark right here. As long as we're below the 200 simple, I am long-term bearish on this asset. It is not good. And again, next, while I don't think that we hit it next, but if we do break about $46.50, which again, I'm not saying that happens anytime soon, I would be looking for the next move back down to the actually like $40 region right here, maybe even 33 and 3/4. It's just not good. Just breaking below the 200 simple right now, as momentum oscillators are like, fucking hell, man, it's bad. What about Stellar? New lows. I mean, we're literally trending still to the downside. We just made new lows once again, or did we? Hold on, we got down to 535. Our last low was 514. Okay, we do not have new lows just yet on a wick basis, but we could get a closure basis new low by tomorrow if we do close below 5.82. What else do we have? Monero. Same thing, or sorry, not same thing. We do have new lows, and we are trending here. And next major support is going to be right around $46. After that, I'll be looking for 39. What is this? Ripple me nipples over here. Really fucking bad, man. I got a lot of shit for calling this a high right here. Same thing with Stellar, but weekly trend, man. At the end of the day, it's very, very simple. It's not very sexy, but we're about to see weekly Stokes freshly crossed down. We already saw weekly RSI get rejected from the exponential and back into the bearish control. I mean, this is very fucking bad, like very, very bad. Any sort of a weekly closure below 23 and 3/4, I'd be looking for a move into the high teens, 18 to 19 cents region. Not good, man. Not good at all. What about EOS? What's EOS doing? Sounds like Eor. Do we have new lows here? We almost got new lows, but again, weekly trends just down. Next major support is going to be somewhere in the $2.25 region. Neo. There we go. So I did get my $950 tick. Nicely done. It's like, congratulate myself. Like, how fucking arrogant can you be? But again, weekly trend still down here, still down. And, well, I don't, this one did have a little bit more love than the rest of the cryptocurrency land, still following the rest of the market. And this is why I say, in general, things are going to follow the general market trend. I don't think we've ever really seen like a sustained counter trend move to Bitcoin, except for Link, which is really, really impressive. Next major support on this one, $8 and like 15 cents, something like that. Tron, holy shit. Weekly trend is down, my friends, and right out of prior lows at 1.3. Probably do bounce around there a little bit, but longer term looks like it's setting up for continuation. Bcash, new lows, I believe. Do we have new lows? Did we get new lows? Last low was 197.72. Yes, we do, by just about $0.50, but that does count. And next major support somewhere down around here at around 162.5. Again, I'm not saying that's happening today, but longer term, likely. Zcash is just sad, is what that is. What about BNB? We haven't looked at that. Joining the rest of the market. Not as nasty as the rest of the market, though, to be fair, to give credit where credit is due. And then we didn't look at GBDC, but we will right now. GBDC actually didn't have it didn't have as bad of a weekly close as the CMEs, but it's bad. It's bad, to be fair. I'm not calling anything like that good, to be direct as fuck. I'm curious what like the shitcoin perps look like on FTX. I mean, this is just destruction, mid perps, destruction, alt perps, destruction. the market moves together is what this is showing. What about New York? The New York index for Bitcoin. Coming all the way down, it looks to me like we do want to come down to the $6,400 region right here. So another bounce, I probably look for like another macro bounce there on higher time frames. Other than that, I do want to follow up on pound yen. So we spoke about this a couple of days ago on the 12-hour. There's a 12-hour perfect jewel signal, sell signal right here. This was 2 days ago, I believe. Not 2 days ago, on the 19th. So getting this high right there. Yes, we did come back and retest it, but that was a rejection and down. And not good, not fucking good, man. Again, anytime that I've traded against a jewel, it's not ended well for me. To be very, very blunt, it's not ended well for me. So it is interesting to me that we are going to see a buy signal on the 4-hour jewel relatively soon. I will very likely take that, and that's likely going to lead up to the next bounce play that I'm looking for. And then after that bounce play, kind of happens, whether it lands at like 7,600, whether it lands at 7,900, whether it lands at 8,200. I think those are kind of the relevant areas right now. Then I'll look for some sort of divergence play on a relevant time frame, and likely enter short if I do want to trade this one. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for today. I'll try to upload some live trade videos because, well, it looks like there is going to be some volatility coming up. Jesus Christ. That was loud. And so that should, so, if I find one of those, I'll probably play it. For right now, just kind of sitting back and waiting. I do have a little bit of a live trade open, but nothing's moving right now. So I don't think that we're going to see the closure of this. Maybe I'll be able to upload that a little bit later today. But yeah, for right now, lower time frames probably do come back down. Higher time frames, looking for a little bit of a bounce, maybe short term to like 74.50ish region. And that's kind of the play that I'm looking for right here. So fair enough. I think that's going to do it for right now. I would like to wish you well. Let's actually look at traditional markets really quick. This must be so frustrating for the crypto anarchists. SPY basically around all-time highs, just continues to chug along. All higher time frames are bullish. Well, no, weekly does have a nice doji doodle right now. So yeah, maybe we do see a pullback coming into next week. Maybe Bitcoin just topped before SPY did once again. Very, very possible. We actually do see a move all the way back down to like 302.5, but doesn't really do too much damage to this asset when it's been making new all-time highs like for the last 4 or 5 weeks straight, while Bitcoin is not doing the same thing. So fair enough. With all of that said, I think with regards to the biggest things that I'm watching today, if the 3-day closes above the 200 exponential moving average, I will look for a bounce to come into like early next week, alongside the weekly closure tomorrow, for extra confirmation, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Bounce targets for that, probably somewhere around like 77 to 79, maybe 82 if things get a little more crazy. But overall, breaking this area right here, breaking below the daily 377, as we spoke about a couple days ago. Sorry, it's like 3 days ago now. That's when maybe we can go sideways for the next 3 to 5 months and hold within this region and just frustrate people out of their positions, looking less and less likely. I think that's greatly diminished the case. Doesn't mean that we can't move back up in this region, but I have no reason at all to be bullish on Bitcoin from a macro perspective, especially as long as we're below the 200 exponential moving average right here at 8,600, as long as we're below the weekly last lower high right here at 9,500. And if you want to be super conservative, which I think is a little bit, I don't think it's as needed. The last weekly high before that at about 11.5. So that's gonna do it for today. I want to wish you well. I want to. What else do I want to say? I want to remind you that I got a new video coming out later today after Elsa gets done editing it, which is going to be pretty damn cool. And with that said, take care, and until next time.